They are first in the division. Max, are the Rams the best team in the West at this point?
Yeah, they are right now. They're the best team in the West. We have to be honest. The Rams win up front. You know, you think about them from a couple of years ago. Remember when we all wanted to see the Rams and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? The Rams would have been favored. Like midway through that season, and the Patriots upset the apple cart there against both teams. But we really wanted to see because of the dynamic offenses, but the Rams also played defense. So you think of the Rams as this, play action, lots of receivers, Kupp and Woods and all these guys, but that's not actually the kind of team they are. What the Rams are now is a dominant team defensively who wins the line of scrimmage both sides of the ball. I think about that Chicago Bears game. Like now, Chicago season's over, and the real issue for them was no offensive line, right? Boy, that's a bad problem to have against the Los Angeles Rams. But it's not just the Los Angeles Rams defense winning up front. Their offensive line also wins up front. So they are built. They're built like championship teams are built. I still have questions about whether Jared Goff can get it done and can make special plays with the money on the line. But in terms of who's the best in the NFC West right now, the way they're playing right now, it is the Los Angeles Rams.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with that, but what I'm going to tell you, if I had to bet my money on one of the two teams, it would be Seattle right now. I believe in the Rams defense. I like them a lot. That's why I said that they were a team that we all got to watch out for, because that defense is big time. Make no mistake about that. And Aaron Donald is that dude. But I got to tell you, even though Jalen Ramsey's a stud as well, I just can't see them holding DK Metcalf to 2 receptions for like 28 yards again. I think that he has to step up, and I think that he will. I think when you look at this top 5 ranked offense of the Seattle Seahawks, the fact that they didn't have Carson when they went against the Rams about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we got to pay attention to that as well, because Carson is back. We'll see what he'll do for their running game, and we know what their offense was even without him. So I'm going to give props where props is due, and I'm going to bet my money on Russell Wilson. I do have question marks about Seattle's defense, but the acquisition of Dunlap, the return of Jamal Adams, I think is going to help their defense. They're top 5 against the rush, so I think that helps them as well. Plus, they can run the football. They can pass the football. They've got a quarterback that's experienced, that's a Super Bowl champion, has been to 2 Super Bowls. He's got the experience, et cetera, et cetera. I just look at the Seattle Seahawks right now, and based on what I've seen from the Rams and Jared Goff, even though I got a lot of faith in him compared to other quarterbacks, certainly not compared to Russell Wilson. And I think that's the thing for me, Max Kellerman, when I think about the Rams, as much respect as I have for them and as much of a chance as I think they have, because that defense is real, I can't ignore what I'm seeing from Seattle right now. Seattle might have struggled recently, but in the end, when I'm thinking about them come playoff time, who's the team that I would probably bet my money on, even though that Rams defense is something special? It's kind of a little bit easier when you in Southern California, which I just returned from. Listen, I came back last night. It was 30+ degree weather. It was in the 70s when I departed from LA. I'm here to tell you. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint that, it's a little bit easier for them, but when that inclement weather kicks in and you got to go someplace else, your defense can travel, but in the end, can it travel the way Seattle's arsenal can travel? Right now, I would still give the edge to Seattle in my estimation.
Well, look, with the money on the line, give me Russell Wilson. I agree about that. But right now, in the playoffs especially, who's been to the Super Bowl more recently? It was actually the Rams. And you know who's a key player? And you'll remember this name, a blast from the past, Stephen A., because there was like a year there where I talk about him all the time. Why are you talking about an offensive lineman? Because I wanted the Giants to sign him, but they thought he'd be too old and would age out of the contract poorly. Andrew Whitworth, the tackle for the Rams on the offensive line. When he showed up in L.A., everything changed.
Damn good.
Everything changed. Now, he had a bad knee injury, right? And then the Rams looked a little shaky. And by the way, that's one of the reasons. Without Whitworth, I'm thinking the Patriots should win this game. I thought the Patriots were going to win in an upset. But the Rams were winning up front. They went up front without Whitworth, and his knee rehab is way ahead of schedule. Like, Whitworth makes a big difference. When you talk about Dunlap or whoever, like who's getting who back, Whitworth has been a vital cog in that machine. When you talk about the most important Rams players, even a couple of years ago when the 3 MVP candidates, right, it was Gurley and Goff and obviously Aaron Donald, Whitworth should be discussed in that group. He is so important to the team. They're doing this without him. What happens when he comes back? The Rams, to me, are trending in the right direction at the right time, playing their best football. Now, they have to sustain it, right? This can't be the best they play and they come back down again. But given the fact that Whitworth is coming back, I think they're going to be even better. Right now, they're the best team in the NFC West.
I listen, again, you just had questions the other day about Jared Goff. And so, to me, again, I believed in him more than you did. And if you got serious questions about your quarterback, think about this. Their defense was elite when they went against Miami, right? But they still lost. Why? Because Jared Goff turned the ball over 4 times in the first half. So we can't ignore the kind of detrimental effect he can have on the collective whole. If you go out there and you don't perform the way that you're capable of performing, you can cost them something. And I just don't think that that's something that Russell Wilson would ever do.
Well, you talk about the turnovers from Goff. That was a problem. I brought it up the other day. And you're right. I don't believe in Goff in the moment of truth. That didn't stop them from getting to the Super Bowl, right? I mean, if Goff would have been better in the Super Bowl, they'd have won because it was the lowest scoring Super Bowl ever. The Patriots defense held them to 9 points, right? And I was expecting some of that again in this rematch, but give credit. I mean, Patriots have less talent now, of course, on defense, but give credit to McVay and Goff. Like, it wasn't Belichick taking them to school. It was the other way around. It was the Rams winning, as I said, up front. Now, when you talk about Goff turning over the ball, it was an issue several weeks ago. It was a persistent issue. A couple turnovers every game, right? So what happened? McVay came out and kind of blasted him in the press. He's like, quarterback, the ball security, it's no good. And how did Goff respond? He responded to it. So, is he trending in the right direction on something that could really hold them back? Yes, he is. Do I believe in him like Russell Wilson? Hell no. But again, he was in the Super Bowl more recently than Russell Wilson.